Everybody, looks like we're live, and so welcome to my welcome to Thursday Reading Smoke with Phil Jost here on YouTube Live. And I want to thank everybody for being here. We'll give everybody a minute or two to log in, see if we get more visitors for this week's edition. Hey, this week we're doing. Last week we looked at fire getting into the attic and some signs that the fire is in the attic. This time we're looking at several things, but that's one of the things I wanted to come back to is go to a fire that we didn't have that extension and didn't appear that we had extension, that sort of thing. As always, thanks for joining me here on YouTube Live on Thursday. Appreciate you being here for episode number 15 as we head towards the holiday season. Hey, I know my brother lives in upstate New York, and he sent me a couple of pictures of the snow up there. I know you gals are getting hammered up there in the Northeast. Snowing actively here where I am right now too. Not nearly as hard as what you got going on, but just remember it's good to have a white Christmas, right? So look at it in the positive and think about how much fun we can have with the snow and getting out there. And if you're in Florida, well, too bad for you, I suppose. Anyway, I wanted to say this is the Harrisburg Fire Department that we're going to today. And I want to thank them and Brian Bastinelli. You can find his link to this video. We're going to be streaming it live today, but you can find the link in the show notes if you want to see the rest of this video. The beginning part, if you haven't seen it, the beginning part is them driving to the scene, and then it's pretty close to the end, and we'll be done with it here today. But you can see we're going to start around the 2.5 minute mark. You actually can't see that. There you go. Now you can see the 2.5 minute mark. And I want to say thanks, hey, to everybody, all the subscribers out there. I really appreciate you spreading the word to the Reading Smoke Nation about our weekly chats. We're getting some pretty good hits over the week, people checking it out, and really is here to try and help you be better firefighters, better company officers, better chief officers, do a better job serving the citizens of your community. Hey, for the new subscribers, Taylor Anderson, welcome aboard. Got EMTB Fire Rescue 140. Ramius Raven, I love that name. I think that's pretty cool. I wonder if that's somehow related to Romulus. Michael Glado, Jonathan Glanville, and Angelo McKnight. Hey, thanks for coming on board. And if you can spread the word to the Reading Smoke Nation, these videos are here. If you're using them for training, even better. I'm just really hoping that we can make everybody a little bit better at smoke reading. All right, let's get going on the video. And as you can see, we're arriving here right now. We're at the scene, and we have a working fire somewhere up in here. And notice that even from the still photo, we're going to look at we're going to do our inventory, right? Our inventory of the attributes of smoke. Those 4 attributes are volume, velocity, density, color. And what we have right now is a very low volume, right? Almost no smoke, but you can see there's it's a low volume. Looks laminar to me. We're in a still photo here. Let's go ahead and go live. And yeah, it's just sort of drifting out of there. It's not pumping. It doesn't have much energy, right? So laminar smoke. I would call that thin. And then white, maybe some version of gray, being dissipated pretty quickly by the wind. That shows that the volume is really low. And as you can see, the chief was here first, but crews are just arriving. Chief's headed out to do the 360, and pretty soon we're going to get switch over to helmet cam as we look at this. Okay, so one of the things that we're going to notice is that the volume of smoke, notice as we're looking at this, the volume of smoke sort of comes and goes. It's definitely coming from floor 2, but notice how the volume sort of peaks and valleys. See that? See how it kind of went away right there? And so what we're looking at is ventilation in my reading of the smoke, because that volume comes and goes, and in the reading smoke curriculum, we call this the volume paradox. And As a fire goes into decay, when it's ventilation controlled and it starts to go into decay, the temperature goes down and the smoke actually contracts rather than expanding and turns into an intake rather than exhaust. All right, we go around to the back side. Notice you sort of see the same thing there, right? As we come around, there's going to be smoke, but then you notice it kind of goes away. See that? Okay, so what that's telling you, and let's go to, I'm going to show you a different video. This is a video from ULFSRI. If you guys haven't been there, you definitely should go. I'll put the link in the show notes again. This is Dan Madrigowski, and this is a fire that I just want to show you what happens when it's a really good visual representation. There's a fire on floor 1 here, and you're going to see smoke up here, and you're going to see, I want you to inventory the smoke as we're doing this, but notice that there's going to be pressure down here, pressure around this door. And this is a time-lapse video, so it moves pretty fast, but watch what happens at this window as we move along this video, and as this fire goes into the decay state. We're going to see a really nice visualization. You see a bunch of, they got a bunch of measuring instruments for their scientific study here. Okay, really good volume right there, good velocity, nice and thick, black color. But notice the fire is going to go into decay, and notice what happens at this window up here. Okay, it goes from being an exhaust to being an intake. And that's the fire. Eventually, that smoke would get down, right? Eventually, as that air goes in, it's going to go in, it's going to go down the stairs, and it's going to end up at the seat of the fire. So let's just watch that again real quick. A really great visual example of a fire going into a decay. And notice that there's zero smoke coming out from anywhere around this building right now. It doesn't mean there's not a fire inside. And certainly you can see signs right here of smoke coming out around this door. But notice as soon as they open the door, we've got a nice flow path in here. The fire's right there. The air's going in, going up, and the smoke's going up the stairs from the fire, up the stairs, and out this window, right? And so that understanding of fire behavior and the ventilation controlled fire and what happens, the fire grows, the temperature goes up, the gases are expanding, right? The oxygen becomes limited because there's no ventilation. The fire goes into decay. The temperature actually goes down. Doesn't mean it's not hot. It just means the temperature's going down, right? It might be going down from 800 to 750, but the fire gases are still contracting. And that's what we're seeing at this place. All the windows are closed, the door's closed. And so as we're looking both at that back door and as we walk around front, you're going to see the same thing. And it's a little bit hard to do, but if you're watching this, you can go back in time and look at this video up here, the inset video, and it becomes clear. I mean, look at that. It almost goes away. You can still see it here, but notice that if we look at total volume, right? If we look at total volume, we can see that it ebbs and flows mostly by watching this video up in this zone. Right there it is. It's coming out pretty good on the front while he's going around the back. Then as the chief comes around the front, you're going to see that again it goes into a little bit of decay state. So each time it goes into decay, it sucks some air in, that adds some oxygen, it gets to the seat of the fire. The seat of the fire grows a little bit, expands, pushes the smoke back out again, and gets into a cycle. Now that cycle changes immediately when they start opening the door. And we have nothing but outflow. In fact, the volume is going to increase here. It never really gets very high in this case. And so as we're watching work, we are going to look at the attic and say, hey, if we looked along that eave edge, right, what would we see? And in general, and this is why videos are a little bit tough, but look up there. There's nothing really coming out of that section up there. It's floating out and drifting underneath the overhang. But if you're looking at the overhang itself, and I'll go back a little bit, if you're looking at the overhang itself, there's no smoke really coming out of there, right? So we can look at that and say our best interpretation of reading smoke from volume, velocity, density, color is we have low volume, low velocity, relatively thin, gray, grayish brown, black. The color's a little bit tough just because the volume is so low, right? But I would say brown to gray. And we know that the fire is ventilation controlled because of the way the smoke comes and goes and comes and goes, right, as the fire grows and goes down. And once that door is open, they're off to the races as far as that. We're going to get to see them do some ventilation here, which is going to be great. We'll be able to see that. We'll be able to see a few other things. One of the things we're always trying to think of in terms of reading smoke and fire behavior is our operational pace on the fire ground, right? As we're doing things, how long should other things take? Right, he's got a good vent going here. Notice now it's basically 100% exhaust from that room. And you can really see some pretty good color and sweat on this window that's off to his left. And we're going to see him break that window from the inside really pretty quickly here. But notice even with ventilation, you're still really talking about laminar smoke. I mean, it's not super hot. It's not boiling out of there. The volume's staying pretty moderate. The color's a little more significant now as far